Well, the challenges of life are just. You're not going to find a book that just gives. Well, I don't know. I'm sure there are plenty of books around that think they can give you the answer to these things. But I'm sure if there truly was one, we would all have a copy. We probably wouldn't even bother coming here. But it's not like that, is it? It's not. You can't pin it down. I mean, what I think you just have to do your best. You be completely open and honest with yourself, and you do your best. And sometimes it doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. I think we often. I think one of the mistakes that we make is that we always feel. I think it's a characteristic of life that you're supposed to win all the time. It's about winning. And unless I win, i.e., resolve this as a definition of winning, then I failed. But I don't think life is about winning, actually. And if you can get past that one, I think that's a huge thing that you can drop off. That you've got to, use the word perfect in its extreme. I've got to be perfect. I've got to get it right. I'm not to make mistakes, whatever, all of that sort of stuff. Because you are, and you're always going to do that. And I don't think you're never going to be perfect. What does perfect mean? It's never going to happen. I think you have to get comfortable with that. And what you need to do is to be absolutely very, very honest with yourself and observe yourself and look at yourself. And be more settled with yourself that you've done your best. And it's not. You can't win them all. You can't win every relationship. You can't be friends with everybody in the world. As the Buddha, I believe, said, so I'm told. I think he's not the only one. He says there's never been a man born that is not a man alive now, and there'll never be one in the future that will be liked by everybody. It can't happen. You can't be to all people. But what you can do is to be honest with yourself and do your best. And this is the place where you are. You might be in a different place than you were 12 months ago, and maybe, or 5 years ago, and you'd have reacted in a different way and whatever. But now you are what you are now, and you make friends with yourself the way that you are now, and you do your best. And it isn't about winning. Because if you go down that road about winning, you're going to beat yourself to death. And that is such fodder for the negativity that we can have. Oh yeah, I'm no good. Look at me, I'm so selfish. Or I'm just thinking about myself. What about this person? Well, that is a bondage that many of us have, especially us Western. You end up, you don't like yourself. Look at me, I'm a load of rubbish. I'm not a nice person. I'm like this and I'm like that. This is what we do, and we end up carrying the world like I'm no good. And that's what we have to skillfully learn to let go of, is that you're doing your best. Look at yourself in the mirror if that's what you have to do. So I'm not perfect. I'm not setting out to be perfect. I'm not setting out to get it right all the time. Look at me in my position. All the dynamics I'm getting from all sorts of people. All sorts of things going on. If I was in this mode that, I've got to get it right with everybody in all situations, I'd go insane, because it would never happen anyway. But all I would do is just drag myself down in the process. And that's what we do, because we have this sort of idealistic thing, and we have this self-view, which very often is negative. We see the negative stuff a lot. And that's what we're working with, and we have to be skillful with that. And I think it's just a part of the awakening process, that you have to go beyond this notion of being perfect and do your best. And sometimes you pull it off, and sometimes you don't pull it off. That's the way it is, and that's the way it will always be. That's the law of nature, and it's for us to harmonise with nature, not make things the way I think they should be. I should be perfect, everybody should be perfect, or I should be perfect. That's not how nature works. It's not how the law of the universe works. It's only in your imagination, the way typically you want to manipulate, as so many people do, the world shouldn't be like that, it should be like this. Or I shouldn't be like that, it should be like this. We have to learn to get comfortable with our dark stuff, with our dirty stuff, you know? And you know, the whole ethical concept comes in. Of course you're always restraining. Of course you're not going out intentionally hurting people, hurting things. You're doing your best, but you also see your own limitations, that you've got your own stuff, that you can't be this shining light to all people. And I'm in that position. People think that I should be somehow different than what I am. I'm quite comfortable with the way I am, actually. And that's not arrogance, and I can see lots of sharp edges with me, but I ain't going to make a problem of it, because all I'm going to do is start beating myself up, and that's not skillful. That's not how the Dharma works. That's not how the enlightened process works, the awakening process works. It's that you have to make friends with these things, see them, see where they're coming from, see where they're created, what they're all about, and make friends with those things, and let the things burn out, not keep feeding them. And you have an ethical framework, which we all need. You can't do this without an ethical framework, because it's always your reference point, it's your guide. But it isn't about pulling it off. It isn't about being perfect, which you can misunderstand when you look at these. When you look at all the things that, you know, we shouldn't do. Shouldn't be right speech, and I don't know, the whole gambit. That's there as a reference, as a guide. You look and you do your best. You know, it isn't about being perfect. And you know, you've got this relationship with this person. Well, you do your best. You've got your limitations. You are who you are. You're a product of your past, your karma. You're in your little box. You got your perspective. You got your, I say, your limitations. That's where you are, and that you make friends with that, and you do your best, and you know if you're doing your best. And if it doesn't work out, well, then it doesn't work out, because that's the way life is. It's never going to work out with all people at all times. It's impossible. It can't be that way. And all you'll do is diminish yourself if you go down that road. It's like we have this ideal, if you like, this ideal that we can all set up. And the paradox of the ideal is that we see it, but we never try to become it. That's what you, oh, I've got to be like this. No, you haven't got to be like this at all. But it's giving you a framework, and you do your best with it. And that actually will never be what you become. And I heard somebody on the radio there, they say, this is, if you get so wrapped up, I've got this ideal, it's got to be like this. I've got to be like this. The world has got to be like this. If you do that, you end up strapping bombs around your body and going in and blowing people up. That's what you do. So I hope none of you got that idea. At least not today. This is what happens. You know, we get it wrong. We get so caught up in all of this thinking and duality and stuff. It's all rubbish. We've got to find that part of us that's beyond all of that. It doesn't want to be perfect, doesn't want to get things right or get things wrong. And that's the way it is. And like I say, I get this all the time in the group, dealing with people in different situations, you know. And if I were to get into that mode, I mean, it wouldn't happen. It couldn't happen. And all I would do is just make my life more difficult for myself. But nevertheless, I do, even though some may not think so, I actually do my best. and that's all I can do. So, you know, I think it's so important to see that. I mean, to me, that's, you know, that's harmonising with the way, and that's what we're doing. We're not. This is why we suffer, is because we're not in harmony with the way things are. I want the world to be like this, and as soon as you do that, you're setting up a conflict. As soon as you take a fixed position with anything, you're creating a conflict, and that's what we do. And then we end up arguing and shouting, and then we end up punching each other, and on it goes. And we have wars because you take a fixed position. Nature doesn't have a fixed position. It flows, and if we can harmonise ourselves with that flow, then we'll be free. We'll be back at one with the flow of nature. Then you're free. Then you're liberated. Then you go beyond all of this self-created, dualistic stuff.